Hello everybody, Philip coming to you from Chiang Mai in northern Thailand. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. This is chapter 4 of my new series, which is me reading out food for thoughts from my book, which is called Menu for a Spiritual Revolution, Health, Harmony and Happiness. Now, I just got to chapter 4 and there are no food for thoughts in this chapter. So what I've decided to do is shake it up a bit. And I'm going to read the first couple of pages of chapter 4 and with you in the presence of our wonderful rain tree, which is what you're looking at. These are all over northern Thailand, and let me ask you a question. How old do you think this tree is? This tree you're looking at? I'll give you the answer at the end of the video. That persuades you to keep listening, eh? What a nasty man. So anyway, I'm going to read 2 pages of chapter 4, and there's no food for thought. So, but this chapter is called A Dozen Tasks, and in fact, it's a chapter that gets you making some changes for a week. And the idea of you doing these tasks is to see what happens to you and what happens to your inner feelings when you make some changes. Because making change is not easy for us. We're busy, we're not programmed to deal with change very well because of our schooling. And so quite often we will procrastinate or we'll put things off. And when we do actually make changes, they're usually on the 31st of December and we call them New Year's resolutions. And then by February the 1st, we're back to normal. So that's what this chapter's about. Now, it turns out that the beginning of the chapter is me describing my, when I came to Thailand, and how I got a job, and it takes you through well, let me read the tale. I'll read you a couple of pages. It'll take about 5 minutes. It was December 1991 and my spending money was shot. I came to Thailand on a one-way ticket. Seems crazy now, but it meant more spending money and therefore more travel time. And I told friends and family I'd be on my travels for a year. I'd lasted not even 4 months. So much for budgets and best laid plans. Money never does what it's supposed to do. Not only did I feel entirely unready to return home, so much fun was I having, but pride also kicked in about returning so soon with my tail between my legs, not to mention it being the middle of a, no doubt, freezing, cold and grey British winter. I would be miserable and feeling sorry for myself, and my grand adventure would have been cut horribly short. I had reached decision time with no hiding place. Take the easy but distasteful choice of bottling it and going home, or try and get that English teaching job I had read about before setting off to the Far East. Doubts surfaced. How would or could I get a job in a far-off land? Was it really possible? Me, a teacher? Never had I considered the idea in my 27 years of life so far. And then there was the gut-wrenching realisation that my travels and my simple, zero-problem beach life were about to end, adding negative vibes to the mix. At the start of my trip, chilling one day at a cafe in the warren of guest houses and eateries at the top end of Khao San Road in Bangkok, beyond the temple, I had met a fellow traveller and was talking about my idea of trying to get a teaching job when my money ran out. His words then were now ringing in my ears loud and clear. If you really want to get an English teaching job, he said, you will get one. It made me feel good at the time, and now that time was here. I might add that I'm a person who is predisposed to take the easy path in life. But I really, really did not want to leave this amazing land called Thailand and her people, which had grabbed my heart and mind during my time here. I was clear. No bottling it. Put yourself out there, man. Just do it. Do it! The bottom of my rucksack, suitably ransacked, and with my pair of crumpled trousers, tie and shirt, put there months ago in England on the off chance they might be needed, now lovingly cleaned and ironed by the girl working at the Apple Guest House in Khao San Road, I set off by bus early in the morning to the centre of Bangkok. I don't recall getting on the bus, nor the journey getting there except the unbelievable traffic. But I do recall getting off the bus and out of the aircon and being pitched into the middle of a bustling city with tall buildings everywhere, and the heat, oh man, the heat. As I got off the bus, it whacked me fair and square like I'd stepped into an oven. My 3-month uniform of shorts and t-shirt and sea breezes had given way to a long-sleeved shirt and tie, which in this heat felt like I was in the hangman's noose. Within seconds of walking, the sweat began, and once it started, it never ends. And so the story goes on. Now, as I'm sitting here, incredibly 32 years later, a third of a century has gone. So if you're a young adult or a young person listening to this, be careful, because without warning, 10, 20, 30 years can just disappear. But anyway, clearly I'm in Thailand, and that was the beginning, and I got the job, and you can read about it in the chapter itself. I got the job, and I became an accidental teacher, and I therefore accidentally emigrated to Thailand as it transpired. And I came on a one-way ticket, and I still haven't returned. Yeah, I've had holidays. So anyway, in this chapter is a dozen tasks, and what I do is I give you a daily task for 6 days, because I'm a kind man. I give you the 7th day free, no task. Well, there is actually, but there's one task a day for 6 days. So this is one of the tasks I recall is cooking a vegetarian meal yourself, only using whole foods. But anyway, there's various tasks. They don't take a lot of time, and you do one task per day, and then what you do is you write down your feelings and your observations as to how you got on. Did it make your life worse or better, or did you learn something, and so on. So it's an exercise in making change and reflecting on what the change does to you. So there's half a dozen daily tasks, and there's also half a dozen week-long tasks. So there's 6 other tasks that you concurrently do for the whole week. Now, one of them that I recall is that you look at what your addiction is. Let's just say it's smoking. I think this is one of the tasks. And you do your level best to not smoke, or whatever the addiction is, for 6 days. Anyway, the point is that these half a dozen tasks you do every day for the 6 days, to the best of your ability. If you fail one day, don't let that be an excuse for giving up for the rest of the week. Just keep going. And then at the end of it, there's another task for you to reflect and see what's going on. And the point about these tasks are, in my book, I call it Menu for a Spiritual Revolution. And what this means is that you get the starters, and chapter 4 is still one of the starters, and then you get the main courses, and then you get the desserts. And the starters are all plenty of food for thought and awareness raising, and getting you thinking about things, about life, about who you are, about what you're doing and why you're here, and how you can change life for the better. It's just to get all the ideas out into the mix, out into the open. And then the main courses is the main section of the book, and that's where you learn. That's the real learning part. But by now, the idea in my head was that with the 5 starter chapters, now you're curious and motivated and inspired to take on the slightly more difficult or more challenging theoretical input. But anybody can do it. If you're a human being, you can do it. Simple as that, if you have the right intention. And then you learn, and then this is the section of the book where you really learn about time and journey and destination, and you learn about the mind and the body. How does the body work? How does the soul work? You learn about everything. And then the desserts, as usual, are nice and sweet, and this is when you start practically applying what you learn in the main courses, and that's the format of the book. So that's chapter 4 for you. Not quite the food for thought of the other chapters. I think, let me have a quick look. Chapter 5, I think we get back to food for thought. We'll have a look. We'll see. I'll be back with you in chapter 5 again, and I might bring my mugshot in again. But I hope you love our rain tree. And so just to let you know, I wonder how old you think that tree is. Well, there's a little lake beside. And when we bought this land, something like 15 years ago, 16 years ago, we bought the land, and it was just an old paddy field. There was no tree. I think the tree's about 13 years old. We had the land for a year or two. And then clearly what happened was that a bird came along and dropped a seed in exactly the right spot. And that seed that the bird dropped about 13 years ago is now what you see in front of you. Amazing, eh? Beautiful sky. Thank you very much for listening and watching. If you like my channel, if you like my videos, help me grow the channel, subscribe, comment, like it. And there's a link in the description below for you to get a sample of my book. You can listen to me reading the preface, which is a 17-minute audio file, and you get chapter 1 to read. And there's a few testimonials and a list of contents. And if you like it, you'll be able to get a copy. And if you have somebody that you love who's interested in growing themselves, get them a copy too. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be back next time with chapter 5. Bye bye.